Good morning, welcome to 59 Minutes. My name is Levi Kones. This morning I'm privileged to have the Deputy CEO of KEPSA, the Kenya Private Sector Alliance. Her name is Martha Cheruto. Karibu sana. Glad to have you here.
Thank you very much.
Maybe you can tell us, for those who don't know, what is KEPSA?
So thanks first for having us. It's really good to see you here today. So the Kenya Private Sector Alliance is the apex body of the private sector. And it brings together, we have the SMEs with us, we have the corporates, we have the business associations, and that forms the bulk of it. We also have SMEs that I've mentioned. We have the multinationals with us. And all this, the reach is about 1 million businesses. Why I say 1 million is because we have both the direct members and the indirect members. And then what KEPSA does is that we engage government. We're usually an advocacy body, and it is all about asking for a conducive business environment. What do we want to see that Kenya needs to do to ensure that we are globally competitive and we can attract more investors in this country? That is who KEPSA is. And we engage government through the different sector boards. What we also do is that we mirror the government. Where we have Ministry of Energy, within KEPSA we have the Energy Sector Board. So when we have Ministry of Education, we have the Education Sector Board. And through them is where we engage the ministries, all at the technical level. And we also engage other arms of government. So you will find we engage the National Assembly, we will engage the Senate, we'll also engage the Chief Justice, and all the way to the presidency. And together, because we have the county governments, we also engage the Council of Governors. So that is who, in a broad context, KEPSA is. And that deals with the business community. But in addition, KEPSA has a foundation. And the foundation deals with the socioeconomic perspective of items. How do we still ensure that the communities around our businesses are adhering to what the government wants and what we want to do as a business? So that is who KEPSA is. Yes.
What does it take for me to be a member of KEPSA?
We have several categories within us, and these categories are based on, say, how many years you've been in existence and also the benefits that you want. And for the business associations, that's where you can come in. If you're an SME, we have categories for the SMEs, and then for the corporate, we also have categories for that. So you will contact us through our website and even visiting our offices, where we are at Shelter Freak 5th floor. And that is where we give you all the products that you want. Even on our website, you can also query, and we'll give you all the information. But that is how one can be a member. That's being a direct member. An indirect
There's a lot
member,
of talk, right now about Mama Boga, Boda.
Yes.
Are those people eligible?
Yes, they are. If you're registered, because we deal with the formal businesses, and we always encourage mostly SMEs to register. So when you're registered, you can come as a direct member through the process I've talked about, or alternatively through the associations. Like now we even have an SME, we have SME chambers, we have the Federation of Juakali. So their membership are our indirect members. So those are the categories that we do have within the KEPSA organization.
Within the KEPSA organization. Yes. So you've been in existence for how long now?
Since 2003.
2 or 3?
Yes.
Ah.
Yes.
What can you say in terms of growth? Well, how was it like? How is it like now? Maybe just in a nutshell.
Yeah. So we came into existence because we used to have several organizations meeting government and have different voices. But then there was a need that could we have one private sector body that speaks on cross-cutting issues. You see, you can all go to different ministries and have several discussions. How about the cross-cutting issues and at the macro level, and even engaging at the regional level and then the global level? So it came into being, it brought in together the several organizations that I've talked about, even the separate corporates. And what we have clearly seen is the growth of the country. We are all there, we want to see economic growth. But there are sometimes you have challenges towards that growth. What does it mean for a business to exist in this country and to invest? It could be much as taxes. It could be much as the cost of production. It could be the labor issues. It could be the skill issue that you're looking at. It could be the climate change and the environment issues. But now, because we do have a platform that you can engage this government and the private sector, together with other stakeholders. Remember, we also look at the development partners and the other organizations beyond Kenya. So that is what we have seen, the growth of KEPSA. And I can actually highlight the impact that happened, particularly during the pandemic. Remember, this happened and we were all in a shock what to do. But KEPSA rallied its members, the private sector, on a discussion table to ask, what can we do? What do we need to do? Because we have to do 2 things. Sustain lives, because it's a health issue, but at the same time, sustain livelihoods. So you come together, have sessions we used to have every Tuesday morning, give proposals per sector, and then share with government. And even the economic stimulus package was part of the discussions we talked about. The protocols are part of the discussions we talked about. And you can also see that we never went into a negative growth. It can tell you that combination, or the public-private dialogue we've been having, has actually become a positive thing. And we look forward to that continuing beyond this government. And for information levy, we've had organizations coming to ask us what exactly happens that you have a very good relation with government, and why is Kenya flourishing? So that's the success of KEPSA so far.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
Yes.
And now you have this thing you are calling Kenya Daima. What is it?
So Kenya Daima is an initiative, and it is being hosted, yes, by the private sector. But then it brings together several societies or several stakeholders, because we want to speak again in one voice. It brings together the religious leaders. You have the media with us. You also have the youth and women. You have the business community itself. You have talked about the media, and we are all saying that we are non-partisan. That all we want within this year.
Are we?
Yes, Kenya Daima is non-partisan. We do not promote any party.
Yeah.
We engage all of them on one table. And what we want to see is, because remember what happened in 2007, 2008. There was post-election violence. People lost lives. Definitely livelihoods were lost. And this came in as a reaction to that. But in 2022 and the years after 2007, we said we want to be proactive. So 2022 Kenya Daima is up, and we're looking at the 3 pillars. So we have the economic pillar, we have the social pillar, and we also have the political pillar. Those are the pillars that Kenya Daima is looking at, and it has been there, and we believe it will be there beyond the 2022 elections.
Yeah, so in these pillars, what's the agenda really of your economic pillar?
So the economic pillar is all about, we all want, remember, as this country, beyond elections, the country has to exist. So you're looking for creation of jobs, you're looking at creation of wealth, you're looking at expanding and even attaining the vision 2030. We want to be the middle income industrialized country by 2022. So it means the country has to continue beyond this 2022 elections. And that is where now the economic manifesto falls under the economic pillar, that it has to be people-centered and it has to be economic-led. You want the achievements and the aspirations of the constitution there. You want a good quality life for citizens. And how do you do that? If you want to bring in investment, there has to be a conducive business environment. And there are several factors that are looking at it. It could be, as I said, matters to do with taxes, it could be energy, it could be the skills that you're looking at, it could be environmental issues, it could be the international relations that we're looking at. So the policy and the legal framework has to be okay for the country to move forward. So what Kenya Daima did is that through now the business community, remember that's one stakeholder within Kenya Daima, developed an economic manifesto. Now this economic manifesto is shared to all the presidential candidates. We give them what the aspirations of the private sector is. How do you inspire the private sector? We have a dialogue. We've had dialogues with the several candidates. We have discussed with them. We have seen what they're talking about and what we're talking about. And later on, once the government is in place, we use that document as a reference point. Because, and this draws back to the leadership, there are so many promises. Majority of them will use the manifesto as a promise. Each party has their own manifesto. So now can we use that as an accountability platform to ask, we had discussed the following, what do we need to do to ensure that this happens and the country grows?
Yeah.
Yes.
So are your suggestions taken seriously? Because we are in a country that thrives on sloganeering.
Yes, they are. The political teams that we engage with, they're also Kenyans. That's one thing. They all have aspirations for this country. The constitution itself wants us to have quality life. So beyond just by the fact that the constitution wants quality life, it means you have to provide that platform. For it to be taken seriously, yes, it has. Like even I can refer to today's meeting. Today morning we had a session with Dr. Matiang'i leading the NDICC. That's the cabinet committee. And it was an engaging scenario. This is what we had asked before, this is what we've done. And what we also do that we've seen, and we know they take it very seriously, is because we develop a matrix. A matrix, we collect all the challenges that the business community have, and then we give recommendations. And then these recommendations, we have a session with government on the table. What can they do? What do we need to do? And it is, remember, it is a mutual relation. We also have responsibilities as a private sector, and government has a responsibility. Then we do the tracking, quarterly, annually, what have we achieved through the ministries, and even all the way to the, like now to Parliament. By the time you're having a speakers roundtable, it tells you that yes, indeed, it has been taken seriously. You'll find the speakers, actually we have a session with the senators, we have a session with the MPs. Let us discuss the economic perspective of this country. Yeah. So through that, we believe, and by the time we're having a presidential roundtable, and you've seen what the country has done, we usually have presidents coming in. So you have trade missions within the country and even outside the country. That interaction with the private sector tells you that, yes, this is serious because we monitor, and you can only control what you can measure. So that is what we do.
There's a lot of complaints.
Yes.
That a country of a lot of meetings and not much action.
Yeah.
Would you agree?
That's what they say from the private sector perspective. Is that
we like to meet, we talk about these things, and
yes,
year in and year out. And we have got good policies and we have got good ideas, but then when it comes to implementation, it falls flat.
Yes.
As private sector, when you see such things happening, then what's the recourse?
You see,
You know.
through the, and you're right, what do we need to do and what have we been doing? That matrix I talk about gives you a platform for traceability and accountability. So if you do not have any platform to have that review, then definitely there will be that statement that there's always meeting without action. But we believe in something we say, that talk only, not action. That's what people say. But then to us, that is what we refuse. We just don't want talk only. Can we have action? Because, let me give an example. Right now, if we talk about pricing for anything, it has a direct impact on you as a Kenyan citizen. And even as a private sector, for you to compete in the business market, then your pricing has to be good. So without that discussion and the implementation of the policy, then it means you will not have the vision implemented. So the tracking helps. So the monitoring and evaluation is very critical. The education part of it, do we all know? And that is where the Mkenya Daima comes in. Which type of leader you are looking out for? If you're looking for a good leader, get an accountable leader. Get someone who they keep their promises. Integrity is very critical, who are selfless. So when you have that, then we believe there will be implementation. Challenges could be there in terms of 100% implementation, but there is always the positive side of items, and that can be seen by what is happening in the country. Yes.
All right. So that was just the first pillar.
Yes.
That was the economy. What did you say the second one was?
Oh, the second one is now the political pillar. And the political pillar is about the leadership, accountable leadership. The Constitution has already outlined the type of leaders we want. And I want to bring it home to this context that it is all out there that for this country, if you had a business and you had the candidates on your table and you're interviewing them, are you going to ask them to actually be the CEOs of your organization? Now translate that organization that you want is Kenya. You are a Kenyan citizen. Then all the political candidates, you're supposed to choose a CEO who will move your organization to the vision that you want. We want double-digit economic growth. So it is our role as citizens, because one, we already have the right to vote. That is what we need to exercise. Now the second step is be assured, who do you want? Because the policies are actually formulated by the legislature. We are the ones who elect them. So we need to have leaders who will go in, who will understand what the country requires, what they need to do, what it means being an MP, an MCA, all the way, all the electoral positions that are available, their roles. So they need to understand that, and then you select. So we all asking people, kagua kabla ya kuchagua. Listen to them. What are they telling you? Is it in line with your desires as a citizenry? And then make sure that on that particular day, you're going to actually elect that person. So we're also calling for people to go and vote. And that is where now the Kenya Daima rally call is, nitatenda wajibu wangu. Your wajibu or your responsibility is vote.
What's in it for you guys? What's the correlation here between the vote and KEPSA?
Yes, the relation is, I call it, it's very direct. When you don't have a good environment to do your business, then definitely all the aspirations of the country on economic pillar goes down. If you want to have a double digit and you don't have a stable environment to do your business, then you can see it hasn't worked. And this can be seen globally. There are countries where they have been fighting. And then look at the economic status. They are not something that we would wish for as Kenyans. And where is the first hit that is hit directly? It's the business community. So why do we want people to vote? Because you're going to vote for the leader that you wish to see, for your aspirations to be implemented, someone that you can always count on for their promises, and they will deliver. And that is where we're asking for. We want a socioeconomic stability in this country. So that is, you can see that relation. And just in 2007, we talked about the livelihoods that were lost. That's the business community. And all of us, as I say, we are all like in the private sector. We all have engagements with the private sector, or you're a private sector yourself. And all this, again, comes into the why we also have the civil society. The civil society also, it's about community outreach. So when there's no stable environment, then the community cannot succeed. And this community is where the businesses function. So you can see the chain is that one slight thing then affects everyone. It has the ripple effect. And you and I are affected, and that's where the business community is very keen and says, can we just continue with our business?
Yeah.
Do your elections, let the country proceed. It's not life and death.
So in the business community, you guys are not, you're not, drawn from, different political persuasions and, tribal inclinations or things like that.
One of the engagement criteria that we see as under Mkenya Daima is non-partisan. That is who we are. You see, as a country, and we are all democratic, we have that democracy as this country. What it tells you is you have your opinion. And it is very important to have your opinion. But when we come together, could we agree what are the common agendas that we all want? Because everyone would want a certain leader based on their own interest and what they'd wish to see the country. And that is why you're saying, kagua kabla kuchagua. My leader does not have to be your leader. But what are the common interests? The common interest is we have one Kenya. We want to see a flourishing Kenya. We want to see a country where investors can come in and do the investment without feeling scared. And we want also the exports, because we want to be a net exporting country. That is what we are looking for too. We want SMEs to grow into that. So you can see, because of the common interest and the common agenda for this country, then Kenya Daima comes in. So you have your silent vote for the 9th of August. That is your democratic right. But when we come to the table, let us look, can we have the issue-based, fact-based discussions and the common agenda? What does the Constitution say? What does the Vision 2030 say? What are the international agreements we want to see in this country implemented, and what do we need? Then we develop the policies and we proceed.
Okay.
Yes.
Why did you call this Mkenya Daima?
Mkenya Daima means that several ways we look at it. I'm Kenyan forever. I want Kenya to shine. And because of, you want patriotism. So when you say, mimi ni Kenya Daima, it is me. I am Kenyan first. So everything I do means I am Kenyan, so I do things because I am Kenyan for Kenya. So that is where the whole story came in, because it is Kenya Daima initiative. Can we just promote Kenya? And can we also promote you see, the other thing that why it's called Kenya Daima, it's about positivity. You want to inspire hope. You want to inspire the young people to go and vote, because some of them, they will feel, no, I only have one single vote, it will not help me. But then that leader you put on that particular day will come and affect you and I. So it is my need as a Kenyan to go out there and vote. And that is why we say Kenya first. We're in Kenya, one Kenya. It is not about me, it is about for this country. It is what this country wants. And then we speak truth to power. Yes.
Ah, do you?
Yes.
Without fear?
Yes, we speak truth to power.
Truth to power.
Yes.
Very interesting. And welcome back. We are speaking to the Deputy CEO of KEPSA, Martha Cheruto. She's telling us about the Mkenya Daima initiative and why they started it, and how KEPSA is working through this initiative to ensure that we have not only free, fair and transparent general election, but also one that brings us the kind of leadership that we would like to see. Now, you're talking about leadership and your interest as KEPSA in who becomes leader, because definitely, as the late President Moi used to say, siasa mbaya, maisha mbaya. That's not biashara mbaya.
Yes.
Which is really what where you guys are egemeaing. So, in that regard, because we talk about Chapter 6 of the Constitution, integrity issues, and one of the things that we have failed to do ever since we got this very progressive constitution is to really bring people, and I'm talking big fish, to book on matters corruption. Yeah. And sometimes we talk about people, other countries, guys lament. Another country, Levi Kones is accused of stealing 6 billion. The first thing I do is step aside, you will not see me for a while. Here, it's an introduction to a political, arena. A lot of people who are accused of something are now the ones, championing political causes, and in fact, going on ahead to win. When you guys are looking at that in terms of your leadership, and you're looking at leaders you want, and looking at even them being people of integrity, where do you plug in this whole scenario in trying to ensure that we have leaders who look the part, who are free from any moral decay, without necessarily being subjective to anybody?
So, one thing that you've actually put it is siasa mbaya, nchi mbaya. Let's put it like that. Now, what does that mean to the private sector and the business community? It means when you do not have good leaders, then that environment is not conducive for you to do your business. That's beginning, right? The Constitution has laid out the characters or the values of a good leader. Integrity is one of them. One of the impediments that are there, or the challenges that we've seen within the business community, and it is known worldwide, is what you've talked about, corruption. So how do we curb corruption, and why is it important that Mkenya Daima speaks to leadership? The leader that is elected is courtesy of my vote. That's the starting point. So what we are doing as Mkenya Daima is where the rallying call comes in, nitatenda wajibu wangu. That means 1, nitapiga kura, 2, nitakagua kabla ya kuchagua. Now this second one, in terms of kagua kabla ya kuchagua, it tells you something. Please put all the leaders that are coming out, all the aspirants and the candidates, to one weighing scale. Look at them based on what values the Constitution is asking us to do. And then go there online and elect. So you see, that's the starting point. The second item that we're also looking at is how do we ensure sustainability? So we are targeting and looking at the youth. The youth are the majority in this country. So we're also making sure that this youth, and where we're engaging the universities, we have the colleges, the dean of students and all that. And we have within the Mkenya Daima initiative or the steering committee, you have their representatives, is that you're giving them information, you're educating them on what is expected. You're also telling them the importance of voting, because the voting apathy is there. So when you address it from that level, the youth for the future will already know that the type of leader they put in place affects them in future. So that is one way of curbing and ensuring that what we are saying is not the right type of leader will not be there. The third thing now comes in under the civic education. How do we work with the electoral management bodies to ensure that civic education is done? And this just doesn't have to be done at the last year. It has to be done severally. Then the other thing that we're also asking for nitatenda wajibu wangu is, could the institutions do their job? There could be challenges, but could they be allowed to do their job? Because when everyone plays their role, Levy, then all these other items will definitely not be there. So could we have everyone? If it is matters to do with budgetary, let's have the budgets allocated per year for them. If it is about bringing people to books, then there is the law process. So it is all arms of government and everyone within this country to play their role. When we all play their role, then we are sure. And finally, within the private sector, how are we managing that? Because remember, corruption, we always say there is the demand and the supply side. We have the public sector, we have the private sector, and it can be private-private, it can be public-private, and that is the common. So even within the private sector, we have measures. One is that we have the code of ethics that every member of KEPSA signs. Number 2, there's a project called the Blue Company Project. And this is also about matters anti-corruption. So when you're a certified blue member, it means you're going to do business with also a fellow certified blue member. So you see, that's where you can curb corruption within the private sector. So that is how we manage corruption within the private sector. And we also push Another economic pillar, adoption of blockchain technology. Could we have traceability of all transactions within now the public sector? So adoption of all the systems and having everybody play their role, then we believe that as a country, we will move forward.
Yeah.
Yes.
So this agenda you have is about smooth transition of power.
Yes.
And what else?
It's about peaceful elections and
Peaceful
smooth
elections
transition.
and smooth transition of power.
Yes.
Why is that key?
It is key.
You don't think we've reached a point where we know it's a given?
That's the aspiration. That is the expectation of everybody. Yeah. And when you have an aspiration, and it is always said from the religious perspective, you confess and you possess what you confess. So within Mkenya Daima, because we also have the religious leaders with us, that is what we say. When you're talking about peace, and I can tell you one of the videos we've done from the Hindu Council, they say shanti, 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 meaning peace, peace, peace.
Oh, that's what it means. Yes. I see that. Om shanti, shanti.
So one of and the leader, who's also part of Mkenya Daima, and when you look at that, every religious sector looks at peace. Right now, all government institutions or the electoral management bodies are talking about peace. The civil society is talking about peace. It means peaceful election, that is what we desire. So you have to confess it, that yes, we all want a peaceful election. Then smooth transition. We've had a government that has been in place for 10 years. Now this transition means you're having a new one coming in. So you want a smooth transition in the context that election one is not a life and death. And number two, that you can go back to your work the next day and move on. Is that you won't feel that friction in between. We want elections to be just a normal event. The way we're having the Madaraka Day happening very soon, the June 1st. It is a day we will go celebrate, and on 2nd we will be back to our normal businesses. So that's the same thing we want. One, have peaceful elections, and we will call for peace before, during, and after. Right now that is what we are seeing, and we're actually calling for, could we maintain the same? During election period, wake up in the morning, go and vote. Do your role, play your your role, go back home and wait. Then after that, we want you to wake up in the morning, go do your business as usual. Let's not have any person feeling that I need to protect myself or I need to be scared and wait for maybe 2 days.
Or I need to run.
Yes, so that is what we don't want to see. And that's why the continued engagement, we've had engagements with the electoral management bodies, that's the assurance we're getting, that proceed with your work. With every other sector, the media, the youth, everyone, the civil society, the business community, we are all saying the same thing. Let us have our lives back to normal and let's not feel the difference. Because finally, on that one is what you said, it just brought me back. Remember, as a country, we are coming from COVID-19 pandemic.
Yes.
So that shock is still affecting us. Now, during an election period, we also lose a year because everyone it's like wait and see. Everyone is watchful. After elections, the first year, you're now trying to come back, to recover. So look at it. It will be like 4 years lost. That's a lot of years if we continue saying that, let's just allow things to happen. Play your role, put all measures in place. We had the confirmations today morning by the Ministry of Interior. All cabinet secretaries have said the same thing. The engagements with IBC, we've also had from NCIC. We've had the civil society saying, the media is saying the same thing. The youth are saying the same thing. Everybody, and even for those in school, COVID disrupted learning levy. I don't think the same students would want to go back to school and have a crash program or wait another 1 year for them to continue their lives. I don't think we want that. We just want to live our lives as usual.
It's true. We just want to live our lives as very, very true.
Yes.
So what is your call to action then?
So our call to action...
What are we supposed to do about it?
So our call to action is, we say, mimi ni Mkenya daima, nitatenda wajibu wangu. That just tells you, 1, you're Kenyan. 2, I will play my responsibility. Na wajibu wangu ni nini? Kwanza ni kupiga kura. So on 9th, we ask everyone, jitokeze kupiga kura. Number 2 is kagua kabla kuchagua. We say, tafuta and ensure that you have good leaders. You remember the statement that also goes out, bora, si bora kiongozi, ni kiongozi
bora.
Yes. So we want kiongozi bora. Go and elect a good leader and who's accountable and ensure that we'll have a prosperous country. The third one is dumisha amani. It is my responsibility as a Kenyan to maintain peace before, during, and after. It is my responsibility. So when you're called upon by any other force to try to create violence, please remember, you are Kenyan and you have a responsibility kudumisha amani. Those are the things that we push out for. And we also have the Peace and Leadership Pledge, where we are asking, let us all sign. And that is where the final line on it is, whether you win or lose, let us accept the results and follow the due process. In case you feel you do not like what has been said, because that is what has been presented on the table, kindly follow the right process so that you and I can continue with our lives. And we always ask everyone, play your responsibility. Electoral management bodies, do your role. As the citizen, play your role. As the business community, play your role. As the media, play your role. The youth and women, play your role. That way, one country that we're looking for, Kenya, will indeed have the smooth transition that we're looking for to the peaceful elections. We'll have an economic growth that we're aspiring to. And number 3, we'll have accountable leadership and good governance that this country requires for us to achieve Vision 2030 and beyond. And we will one day say that we did this not only for us, but for the generations after us. That is our call to action.
Yeah.
Yes.
We have a lot of people who say, you know what, politics is a dirty game. I don't want to get involved. I don't want to, you know, why should I be the one to play a role? What would you say to such guys?
What I would tell them is, you see, politics, there's no policy without politics. The laws of this country go through the, you know, I'll call it the political way because we elect the leaders into the legislature, into parliament. They think through, they are the ones who look at the bills that are presented by the citizenry. So it would be necessary that we all play a role in this, in politics, because it shapes my future. And Levi, one thing that would ask all Kenyans to look at it is, whether I vote or not, and someone else has voted, then what I need to remember, if I don't vote, that I will have to agree to the leadership the other person has elected.
We say not voting is voting.
Exactly. By the way, exactly, because you've already decided that your leader will be my leader.
Yeah.
So if you've elected a bad leader, according to me, then definitely I have to live with a bad leader for life. But if I go in and play my role and say I'm going to elect a good leader, and all the Kenyans elect a good leader, then it means we are all safe. Then the other thing, why that is very critical, is once the policies are passed, do you know it does not matter which side of the coin you tossed. It does not matter which party you elected at that time, because they are all under one umbrella as government.
Yes.
Now they're going to make policies as one team. And those policies, when they pass, are going to affect me and you. So if I'm going to buy water tomorrow, it is courtesy of a tax that was initiated. If I'm going to buy fuel tomorrow, there are taxes there because of the leader. So when we all appreciate and where we come to and say, your vote could be single, but remember collectively, the elected leader affects you and I in equal measures. We buy soap from the same place, we buy fuel from the same station, we buy anything, we buy food, everything that we do. You will go to a supermarket and it will not ask you, who did you vote for? You will buy based on the price that is there. So that's the critical mass. So let us all participate in politics. Let us get out, be the leaders that we want to see, elect the leaders that we want to see, and this country will move forward.
Yeah.
Yes.
So tell me, you do have a rallying call called Wajibu Wangu. Yeah.
Yes.
And it's informed by, you know, your prior engagements and your prior participation with the issues to do it, especially with matters, politics and leadership and things like that. How are you going to get that call out so that every Kenyan can hear it?
Yes. So Wajibu Wangu builds from, as you rightly put it, when we started Mkenya Daima. And as Kenyans, we always say, my rights, haki yetu. Yes, you have your right, but there's also the other side of it. What's your role, your responsibility? And that's where the Wajibu Wangu comes in. Now, how are we doing this? And how do we ensure that this message goes out to everyone? it is the call to partnership. And we are happy, like this is one call to partnership where we're doing. So you partner with several organizations, several sectors, several initiatives speaking one same language. Right now there are several institutions talking about peaceful elections. There are others, we are all going all the way to partnering with the media on matters to do with presidential debates. We are having the gubernatorial debates. So that is one way of making sure that the message goes out there. Engagement with the civil society, they will ensure that it goes all the way to the community level. With the media, and all this is either the conventional media, the social media, then we also engage them towards that. If it is all about to do with the youth, and let's look at the perspective of, say, the student leadership, then we have that platform. We have the platform of the business community through KEPSA and the associations around it and even the corporates around it. So all the way goes down. And then the other place that we also push the same message is the electoral management bodies. Because if the responsibility is not only for me as a citizen or a Kenyan, but even the institution that is supposed to actually play their role within the electioneering process. So we also engage them and partner together and say, this is how we want this country to look like. So those are the platforms that we're engaging. We are online, social media. We will look at some, it's called them Kenya Daima. So you'll go to Facebook, you'll find on Twitter, you'll find on the social media platform. And we have now the other organizations with us. So those are the platforms that we really want to go out there. And we want to show the world that everyone could be watching Kenya. But this time round, we want to ensure that Kenya becomes an angle or becomes, you know, the role model for the country and in Africa, that you can actually have elections as one of the normal events and you move on with your life as usual. Yes.
It's very interesting that you are having so much input in matters election. In terms of, like, when you talk about, you're talking to governments, you're talking to people who are voting. What about aspirants?
Yes. Now, I like that. With the aspirants, our engagement with them comes in.
Yeah.
Like when we did the economic manifesto, already we have engaged Azimio, we have engaged Kenya Kwanza team, the presidential candidates. Now we have the full list of all the presidential candidates, we'll still share with them. The other thing that we're doing is also through the Register of Political Parties, we are also, those are communication or engagements going on that we're looking at. How do we ensure that this message goes throughout? So the signing of the peace pledge is for the country, everyone to do the same. Even with our partnership now with, say, the NCIC, in terms of what we want, they're pushing for uchaguzi bila noma. You see, it is all about peaceful election. All these are related. We come in and work together on that one. So it is calling on everyone, pushing across, even the candidates themselves. And remember, when you start also at a party level, then it becomes part of the in-depth, or becomes part of their blood as a daily basis. Also, there's always the code of conduct, and that is actually, what is the word? It is hosted by the election management bodies. So with that, when you look at IEBC, there's a code of conduct for parties. We're looking at NCIC, there's a code of conduct where they want people to see. The Constitution expects you to play a certain role. So all that means that all this information is just not for any other person, but for all of us. Whether you're an elected person, or whether you want to be elected, or whether you're the one who's going to elect that person, we want the two of them to sing the same message. Because when the country is burning, it does not matter whether you're a candidate or not. It will affect you. So if I'm a candidate, I have family. So definitely, it will affect all of us. So the call is to everyone out there. As long as you're a Kenyan, play your role. Even the national anthem has that word, wajibu wangu. It has the word wajibu wetu. If you actually look at the stanzas, there is that in the national anthem. Let us live by the words of our national anthem.
By wajibu wetu.
Yes.
What would be your parting shot to people who are watching this morning? What's their take home?
Their take home is, your vote is very important. Get out, vote on the 9th of August. Vote for good leadership, because it will impact the life that you live for the next 5 years. And then maintain peace as a Kenyan. Because the peaceful environment that we've always been enjoying might not be there if you and I do not play our role of kudumisha amani. So as a Kenyan, I will say, let us all say, mimi ni Mkenya daima, nitatenda wajibu wangu. Na wajibu wangu ni kupiga kura, kudumisha amani, kukagua kabla kuchagua, nitahakikisha nitachagua viongozi bora, na pia tutaendelea kuwa mimi ni Mkenya daima, nitatenda wajibu wangu.
Thank you for visiting us, Madam Deputy CEO.
Thank you, Levi.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Martha Cheruto, she is the Deputy CEO of KEPSA. They're running the initiative Mkenya Daima. Ni wajibu wako to make sure that ulisema what was the slogan? I really liked it, the one you said kagua kabla kuchagua.
Yes.
Oh, sounds interesting.
Yes.
Yeah, kagua kabla kuchagua. And you must do that across the board, MCA all the way to president, so that at least you feel like your vote counted and your voice was heard. Have a wonderful day, evening, and see you tomorrow.